GR raising their hand. Sheila? This is Giovanna Rossi. Ms. Rossi, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. I was raising my hand just to give public comment. I'm not an interpreter.
No, that's fine. If you don't require an interpreter, I'm happy to take your comment now. Would you spell your first and last name for the transcript?
Yes, Giovanna Rossi, Giovanna Rossi.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Giovanna Rossi, and I'm speaking on behalf of Moms Clean Air Force and thousands of New Mexico parents who want clean air, safe water, and a healthy future for our children. Moms Clean Air Force has over 20,000 members right here in New Mexico and over 1.6 million members nationwide. New Mexico has a pollution problem. We have more than 62,000 oil and gas operations releasing hundreds of millions of pounds of methane and other harmful air pollutants each year. This isn't abstract, it's personal. I'm a mom of 2 teenagers who love the outdoors. On hot summer days when ozone pollution from nearby oil and gas operations mixes with the heat, my daughter comes home coughing with burning eyes and headaches. Our doctor told us to keep her indoors on bad air days. But childhood shouldn't mean checking the air quality before going outside. No parent should have to choose between fresh air and their child's health. That's why this rule matters. These outdated bonding rules have allowed oil and gas corporations to drill wells across our state while posting only a fraction of the true cleanup cost. The Legislative Finance Committee found it cost an average of $163,000 to plug a well, and some cost over $700,000. Yet because of low bond amounts, taxpayers have already spent over $100 million cleaning up abandoned wells, with as much as $1.6 billion more still unfunded. Beyond the dollars, these abandoned wells leak methane and toxic chemicals into our air and water, putting communities, especially rural and tribal families, at risk. The good news is New Mexicans overwhelmingly support fixing this. Nearly 9 in 10 voters say oil and gas corporations should pay the full cost of cleanup. Even our own state land office and oil conservation division support the proposed rule changes. Here's the bottom line. If you drill it, you should clean it up 100% of the time. This is our opportunity to align policy with common sense and protect both our children's health and our state's future. Please vote to adopt stronger bonding and cleanup rules because no corporation's profit should come before a child's right to breathe clean air and grow up healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rossi. Sheila, can we move to Patricia Sheely? Ms. Sheely, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? You should have the necessary permission. Mm. Okay, she may have stepped away or be challenged by the unmute feature. Let's see. Who's next? Mitchell Krakuskis.
Good afternoon, Madam Examiner.
Hello. Would you spell your first and last name, please?
My name is Mitch Krakowskis, M-I-T-C-H. Last name is K-R-A-K-A-U-S-K-A-S.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I work for a small family-owned operating company in southeast New Mexico, and I have serious concerns that this rule will run every small independent operator out of our state. The extreme bonding requirements will force companies to waste capital by putting up cash bonds rather than using that capital to continue to grow and develop minerals to the benefit of the state and the mineral lessors. The proposed overreach of this rule, allowing for the state to single-handedly approve or deny the transfer of wells, disproportionately affects the small producers, many of which are based in New Mexico. These are the companies that spend money in our communities, support local charities and events, and support thousands of families that call this state home. The adoption of this rule, on top of all the other overregulation of our industry in recent years, will force many of these families to move out of the state or find new forms of employment, including me and my family. I strongly encourage the commission to consider dismissing this rulemaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krokowskis. Let's see. Move to Arthur Harrington. Can you unmute yourself, Mr. Harrington?
Hello?
Hello. Would you spell your first and last name for the transcript, please?
My first name is Arthur, A-R-T-H-U-R. My last name is Harrington, H-A-R-R-I-N-G-T-O-N.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Arthur Harrington. I lived in Fremont, California from 1976 to 2018. I was a union carpenter in California in the Fremont Bay Area, and I made a living, a good living, and I retired in 2018, and I moved to the Mid-Valley Airport in Las Lunas, New Mexico, and I like it here. I really like it here. Okay. It's my opinion that gas and oil is very important. Without it, this place will have a hard time. And I've seen firsthand what overregulation does. It's just a thing. As a business partner, I saw it just gets passed on to the consumer. That would be the residents and the people that live here with me. And I think it's very important to be careful, because I've seen what happened where I used to live, and it's sad. And I thank you very much for considering this, my interpretation of what I've seen, and I hope that it helps the gas and oil industry here.
Thank you, Mr. Harrington. We'll go back to Ms. Shealy. Ms. Shealy, can you unmute yourself? All right. Do we have anyone else on the platform? Let's see. HJ. Haley Jones.
Yes.
Hello. Would you spell your first and last name for the transcript, please?
Yes. Haley, Haley, Jones, Jones.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Jones, and I'm speaking on behalf of Citizens Caring for the Future in strong support of the proposed bonding rule changes. I have lived in Carlsbad, New Mexico for nearly 30 years of my life. As you may know, 17 years ago, a sinkhole was discovered under the intersection of two major highways in South Carlsbad, caused by a brine well operation. The operation was shut down, but because there wasn't sufficient financial assurance in place, we had to wait 14 years for the problem to be fixed. The company went bankrupt 2 years after the discovery of the sinkhole, leaving New Mexico
I think now I've got it.
Just a moment. I'll take your comment
Can you
in a
hear
minute.
me?
Yes, I'll take your comment momentarily. Go ahead, Ms. Jones.
Leaving, after the discovery of the sinkhole, leaving New Mexico taxpayers on the hook.
Can you
to
hear me
cover
now?
Sheila, would you mute that person, please, whoever it is?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'll take your comment in a moment. Ms. Jones, go ahead.
To cover the cost of fixing the problem. Carlsbad had to fight every legislative session for years to get the funding to fix a problem a private company had caused, and taxpayers all across the state had to help pay to fix an issue they did not create. If the proposed rules had been in place back when the Brinewell sinkhole was first discovered, we might not have spent more than a decade wondering if the highway might collapse beneath us. This should be a lesson we heed, not ignore. The sinkhole shows us the high price that can be paid by the state and taxpayers when private companies do not clean up after themselves. Unplugged abandoned wells can leak toxins into our air and water, threaten public health, and mar our beautiful landscape with old, decrepit equipment. The cost to plug and remediate these sites should be paid by the companies who profit off them, not by taxpayers. Here's the bottom line. If you drill it, you should clean it up 100% of the time. If a company can't afford to put up the money for these proposed bonding rules, they should not be drilling in the first place. Please vote to adopt stronger bonding rules. Let's protect our air, water, and wallets. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, and thank you for pressing on with the interruptions. All right, who do we have next? We're going to go back to Ms. Shealy. Ms. Shealy? Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you. Would you spell your first and last name, please?
Patricia, Patricia, Shealy, Sheely.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have lived in Gallup, New Mexico for 33 years. I am commenting in support of the rulemaking to modernize New Mexico's bonding and cleanup rules. I believe that it is critical that oil and gas wells be properly plugged and that any contamination be cleaned up. It is unacceptable to contaminate our land, water, and air. This endangers the health of our children, makes our water unsafe to drink, and degrades the soil for agriculture. It further spoils the beauty of the land, which is important for tourism and recreation. It is just common sense that the private companies that have profited from our public resources should be responsible for cleaning up the inevitable spills and plugging wells that are no longer producing. I applaud the companies that have properly plugged 95% of the wells, but the remaining 5% are still capable of a lot of pollution. New Mexico has a huge number of orphaned, abandoned, and low-producing wells that no one is taking responsibility for cleaning up. Corporations are gaming the system and using loopholes to get rid of high-risk, marginally producing wells by selling them to poorly funded companies. The present deposit system does not provide enough money to clean up and plug these wells. This leaves the state on the hook for a huge cleanup bill. If there are 5,000 wells at risk and the average cost of cleanup is $163,000 per well, the total cost would be $815 million. I expect this estimate is too low, but we don't need to guess. The Legislative Finance Council estimates that the state's liability for abandoned wells to be $700 million to $1.6 billion. Both people and corporations like to believe that they are performing in an ethical manner. But the truth is, most of us are motivated by cost and the desire to make a profit. This is why rules and regulations are necessary to ensure that everyone pays the actual cost of doing business and cleans up any mess that may occur. New Mexico is not a rich state, and it has many social programs that it needs to be spending its money on. I want the corporations to leave the land like they found it. Thank you for listening to me, and I apologize for my speaker problems.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shealy. What do we have next? Heidi Brooks, can you unmute yourself?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Would you please spell your first and last name?
Heidi, Heidi, Brooks, Brooks.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. I'll start your time.
Okay. Yes, I'm here to submit a comment in favor of the proposed rule amendments concerning the financial assurance requirements for plugging disused gas wells. I'm prompted to speak out here today by an article recently sent to me by my daughter who lives in Sweden. From abroad, she read an AP article entitled, "Blood Tests Show Highest Levels of Forever Chemicals in Those Living Near New Mexico Plume." The study reported on was about the extraordinarily high levels of PFAS from firefighting foam used at Cannon Air Force Base. This problem caused not only health issues for people drinking contaminated water, but property value losses and livelihoods threatened. After reading the article, it struck me that New Mexico is often in the news for pollution that we're exposed to, from PFAS to radiation exposure experienced by downwinders from the bomb tests in southern New Mexico, to the record-setting uranium tailings pond spill at Church Rock into the Rio Puerco, to the plutonium that remains in Acid Canyon near Los Alamos, to the jet fuel plume underneath the southern part of Albuquerque, to the Chevron Cuesta mine waste, to the toxic wastewater spill that turned the Animas River orangey yellow, and the list goes on. And that list includes idle oil and gas wells. We seem to be going from the land of enchantment to the land of collateral damage. But compared to many of these other pollution stories in our state, the geographic area of the problem of disused oil and gas wells is enormous. The toxins being emitted into the air and water from the hundreds and possibly thousands of non-producing oil and gas wells affects broad swaths of southern and southeastern and northwestern New Mexico. These toxins, like the PFAS referenced earlier, also pose serious risks to the lives and livelihoods of the people near these wells, as well as to the environment. New Mexicans should be entitled to a safe place to live with clean water, land, and air. The fact that the oil and gas industry has been permitted to tap into the state's vast stores of oil and gas shouldn't condemn us to unnecessary toxic exposures long after the wells cease to be productive. The Oil Conservation Commission should enact rules designed to protect the people of this state from the unfair costs and dangers of defunct oil and gas wells in their neighborhoods. New Mexico should not be a state filled with sacrifice zones. The Commission's position, if based on fairness and justice, should be that if you drill it, you clean it up promptly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. We'll go now to Willis Duff. Mr. Duff, can you unmute yourself? Willis Duff? You should be able to unmute yourself. No? Let's see, I see Ellen Duecki or Duecki? Can you unmute?
I got me on mute if I'm still in line.
Oh, is this Mr. Duff?
Yes, it is. I'm
All
so
right,
sorry.
We'll go back to just a moment. All right. Would you spell your first and last name for the transcript, please?
Sure. Willis is Willis. Duff is Duff.
And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. I'll start your time.
Okay, I'm a retired entrepreneur after 30 years of doing that. I live in the East Mountains outside of Albuquerque. And I have a slightly different slant on this. I think all of us, certainly all of you, and I want to thank you for your service and commend you for your stick with it and patience. I know we all know, you guys and gals particularly, but most people know the downside of free methane in the air and its effect on health and particularly on climate change. So I'm not going to elaborate on that. I probably wouldn't bring anything new to the conversation. But what I do witness in my view of the public conversations and in my contact with ordinary people here in the East Mountains is that there is loss of faith in the institutions that are supposed to enforce the rules and enforce the laws. And there's a great impatience with not only corporate, but government and personal impunity. Impunity is sort of a natural catalyst to saying, dadgummit, that's not right. And impunity is shown when unattended wells pollute our atmosphere. And I think it's not only good for the cause that this specific undertaking is set about to fix, but it's good for the general business of people having faith in the institutions that are supposed to take care of us. I think it's clear that for fairness, justice, and common sense, it makes total sense. If you drill it, you fix it. And drilling it and leaving it is dead wrong. And that it goes beyond all of the machinations of government and business. It's a human and moral issue that if you make a mess in the public realm, you are really obligated to fix it up. So I really hope you guys are going to vote for the stronger bonding. Beyond that, as a personal position, I'm offended and upset and all those things when I see this this impunity that's all around us, and particularly now with the people who drill wells, all the way from the small independent driller, and I have some of those in my family, all the way up to the mega corporations, that it is your duty and your responsibility to clean up your mess. And I strongly hope you will all vote for the increased bonding requirements. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Duff. We'll go back to Ellen Dewicki. Can you unmute yourself? Hello. Ms. Dewicki? It appears you have the permission to unmute yourself. Can you hear me? Okay. We'll go to Nell Burris instead. Ms. Burris, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello. If you would spell your first and last name for the transcript.
My first name is Nell, Nell. My last name is Burris, Burrus.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. I'll start your time.
Dear Chair and Commissioners, my name is Nell Burris, a K-12 educator in New Mexico since 1999. My college education was paid for by proceeds from a natural gas well located in Oklahoma on family-owned land. I'm here today in reference to case 24683. I'm going to turn down my volume a little bit. I'm here today in reference to case 24683. I stand in favor of updating New Mexico's bonding and cleanup rules. I urge you to defend the health of New Mexico communities and the pocketbooks of New Mexico taxpayers by updating the bonding rules to fairly and accurately reflect the true cost of cleanup and remediation of the oil and gas wells no longer in service. A few years ago, I was shocked to learn about the huge clouds of methane that sit over both northwest New Mexico and southeast in the Permian Basin. While odorless and invisible to the naked eye, methane clouds in the atmosphere are detected by satellites using infrared technology. In my mind, these clouds are a symbol of the damage that's being done to our communities, environment, and climate in New Mexico. I recently accompanied the New Mexico Interfaith Power and Light to Carlsbad, New Mexico to learn about the impact of oil and gas operations on communities and environment in the vicinity. In Carlsbad, via thermographic tools, we could see methane and volatile organic compounds emanating from a storage facility while we heard the laughter and sounds of children playing on a playground a few hundred feet away at Ocotillo Elementary School. At the Loco Hills location, we could smell the stench of hundreds of oil wells that appeared to be abandoned. We could see petroleum leaking from tubes onto the ground, great piles of industrial waste, chemicals and unlabeled vats, and again, our thermographic equipment clearly showed that VOCs and methane were escaping from these sites. Those companies who financially benefit should be the ones who pay the full cost. That is only fair. They should not be allowed to transfer their ownership prior to cleaning up the site. Also, the state of New Mexico needs to do due diligence by hiring and authorizing many more inspectors to make sure that all oil operations are being carried out in accordance with current and future laws. This is not only to protect those living in close proximity to oil and gas operations today, but to protect future generations from their climate and health impacts and their heavy associated costs of cleanup, which New Mexican taxpayers will have to pay if we allow the situation to continue to worsen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Burris. Let's go back to Ms. Duecki.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can very clearly. Would you spell your?
I had the wrong microphone enabled on my computer, so I apologize.
That's all right. Would you spell your first and last name for the record, please?
First name is Ellen, E-L-L-E-N. Last name Duecki, D-U-E-W-E-K-E.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Thank you. I'll start your time.
Okay. My name is Ellen Duecki, and I have been an Albuquerque resident for 49 years. When I moved to New Mexico as a young woman, I was immediately enchanted by the natural beauty of the state. Over the years, while enjoying hiking, camping, cross-country skiing, or just the zen I get from our incredibly beautiful and peaceful vistas, I became a proud environmentalist and an active Sierra Club member. That's why I'm here in support of the proposed amendment to the OCD rules regarding financial assurance. The amendment fairly addresses the problem of bad actors without causing harm to the responsible companies who are cleaning up after themselves. It prevents weak companies that don't have the financial capacity to complete the full job from extraction to cleanup from purchasing wells. After all, if they can't afford the bonding price, they can't afford to do it themselves. The original well owner, unable to find a buyer, will then shut their underproducing wells down and clean them up themselves. Since unspent bonding money is refunded, only irresponsible polluters will be harmed. To attain my business degree from UNM, I was required to take a business ethics course. Surely these oil producers understand that because theirs is a highly polluting industry, they have an ethical responsibility to do what they can to clean up the mess it creates. That is just part of their business cost. So why are they spending what would be a small fortune to me on a team of lawyers to oppose the change? The only reason I can think of is that they know the amendment will reduce their bottom line significantly. They want the cleanup cost to continue to come from New Mexico taxpayers' pockets, so the money will continue to end up in theirs. Last week, I heard commenters opposed to the amendment. One complaint was that it will drive the oil industry out of New Mexico. But the oil is in New Mexico and the oil producers want it. This just ensures that they clean it up. Another complaint was that this amendment will reduce the revenues the state receives from the oil industry, supporting our economy and our schools. But when we spend millions of tax dollars to finish their job for them, we're actually subsidizing the industry. This is an unnecessary loss to our state. There are so many legitimate needs of public funds for New Mexicans. It doesn't make sense to tax the poor to subsidize the rich. So please approve the amendment. It is fair to the oil producers and good for New Mexico. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dewicki. Before I turn away from the platform, let me ask if there's anyone else on the platform who would like to offer public comment during this session. The next session is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you are on your phone on the platform, you can press *5 to raise your hand. Otherwise, please raise your virtual hand. No? All right. Let me see. Is there anyone in the room? That looks like Ms. Lucero. Come on up, please. There's a witness stand right there. Would you please spell your first and last name? Oh, yeah.
My first name is Laura, Lora. Last name is Lucero, Lucero.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. I'll start your time.
Thank you. I'm from Albuquerque. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today about the rulemaking in this case, number 24683. I'm speaking as a grandmother, well, first as a mother, then a grandmother, and now a great-grandmother. I've raised my family to take responsibility for our actions, to care for our neighbors, our community, to respect our home and our planet, and last but not least, to clean up our messes. I expect no less from you, from my elected officials, and from the oil and gas industry. The proposed rule to increase the bonding requirements for oil and gas drilling operators makes perfect sense to me, and I hope it does to you as well. The industry must take responsibility for its actions. The cost of doing business, including cleaning up any messes, and the risk of doing business must fall squarely on the industry, not on New Mexicans. The proposed rule recognizes that our neighbors and our communities must be protected. And if leaks or spillage occurs, the operators must foot the bill for the cleanup. Excuse my simplistic analogy to child rearing, but the issue before you is just that simple. Either the industry learns it must be responsible and must clean up its messes, or the rest of us will continue to shoulder that burden. Please support the proposed rules to reform bonding and cleanup. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lucero. Anyone else in the room? I see no other unaffiliated folks in the room. We'll turn back to the technical case then. We had 4 folks sign up for this session, including Ms. Lucero, and 10 spoke. So we're now at 4:35. We would need a break before your first witness, unless you would like them to offer their first 15 minutes of testimony. Perhaps we should start tomorrow morning.
My preference, Madam Hearing Officer, at the discretion of the commission, would be to start fresh so we don't have to get interrupted partway through it. If that's okay with the commission, that would be my preference then.
Is that okay? Great. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9.